In a story that News 46 broke right here, we are here at the Nye County Commissioners Building for a press conference of sorts. It is to answer the question about the close of Blagg Road after the rains last week. There's at least 2 pump stations that have sunk. There's broken pipes. There's large sinkholes in the roadway all the way from Basin to Mesquite. As you may know, that this road was tore down and reconstructed for the use of the Correction Corporation of America's detention center and their inmates to take the sewage from the detention center down to pump station 3 at the Willow Creek Golf Course. We're going to bring you to the press conference that was held here today with Nye County Manager Rick Osborne, Town Manager Bill Kohlbarger, Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Lewis, representatives from the Public Works Department, as well as Nye County District Attorney Brian Kunze. Utilities, Inc. did not show. They were invited.
An open road to their homes so they can get in and out. We have been working with the town, Pahrump Valley Fire, our own emergency services to make sure that there is knowledge all around about where the problem areas are. So when they have to respond on an emergency, they can avoid the areas of concern. The Public Works Department has been working diligently on trying to resolve the issues there, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. There was another collapse last night. It would be on Blagg, approximately 300 feet south of Irene, and they have rerouted the traffic around that area. So as I understand, it's still open, but you will see a shift. We've passed out some literature, a hand-drawn sheet that kind of spells out the problem area for you and identifies the things, and thanks to Public Works for getting that put together. A couple of the lift stations have shown signs of sinking a little bit down there that were put in, so we don't know what the extent of the problem is at this point in time, but we have engaged UICN, and they have in turn engaged their construction company, and as I understand it right now, they have they're preparing to get an engineering firm out here to evaluate what the depth of the problems are, and until we really get those reports back and Public Works has a chance to go through the documents that they're working through now, it would be premature for us to draw any conclusion at this point in time, other than we have a problem. And so we're trying to work through that. UICN is engaged in it. And what was the name of their construction company? It's Spirit, was it, that put the lines in?
Well, I believe there was a few construction companies. I believe Spirit was in that area.
Okay. So anyway, we're trying to just work with them and make sure that we can keep the roads open for the public. And I just want to pause for a second and see if there is anything that our district attorney might want to say, or anybody else that's on the panel. We met a few minutes ago just to kind of go over everything, make sure we're all on the same page. Maybe the fire chief down there might want to comment on things from an emergency services standpoint.
Thank you. As Mr. Osborne has stated, we've been working diligently with Public Works. We've identified alternate access routes to all the properties, both residential and commercial, in that area. We've been assured that the infrastructure, including fire hydrants, are still accessible and they are operational. We are doing everything in our power to avoid any unnecessary delays for response times. And this will most likely be an ongoing process. We'll have daily updates, I'm sure, through Public Works. And I can tell you at this point that there appears to be no unprotected areas at this time.
All right. Mr. Kohlbarger, is there any other comments you want to add to to this morning?
Just like to thank the county for keeping us in abreast of the situation and working closely with the Trump Valley Fire Rescue. They've been doing a great job and letting the Chief Lewis know of any and all issues out there pertaining to all the roads throughout Nye County or throughout the town of Pahrump. For that, I say thank you.
At this point in time, we don't know the magnitude of the problem, and probably you might want to be asking us what the dollar amount might be and all that, and we really can't even guess at that at this point in time until the engineering is done. But as that becomes a clearer picture to us, we'll certainly share that with you. You might want to ask how long. Again, looking into a crystal ball, it would be a swag, and that's all. It's probably going to be a significant time, unfortunately, because there's a lot of infrastructure that has to be evaluated along the way. So I wouldn't expect that it's going to be a short thing that'll be fixed in a month. I think it's going to be longer. It's going to be months, unfortunately. But again, I'm kind of looking into a crystal ball here. I'm just trying to give you the best estimate that we have at this point in time. So at this time, if you have some questions, we'll certainly try to field those and answer what we can. Yes, ma'am.
Are the pump stations working?
They are working at this point in time, yes.
Do we know who the contractor was that compacted the soil around the sewage lines and the pump stations?
That is part of our evaluation. We're trying, as Jared stated a minute ago, we believe there were several construction companies involved in that, and so they are charged with looking into that and trying to evaluate who we need to be talking to.
Were you able to determine what the liquid is that's leaking into the dairy?
As far as I know, the only thing that was over there was just some water.
There's a foul odor right next to the pump station.
Well, no, there was some water that was pumped over there off of the roadway, but that's all it was water.
So there's been no sewage leak at all? There's been no sewage that's been discharged out of this?
There is none that we're aware of, is there?
Not aware of anything. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Osborne, would you ask him to come up to the mic so we can all hear it?
That's a good idea. I erred it. Make sure the green light's on, and that way everybody will be able to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, sir.
My name's Don Cox. I drove down there last night, and those irrigation lines going into the dairy down there had sewage coming out of it. Anybody with any nose on them can tell the difference between animal and human waste. That was out of the sewer plant that was run right into the dairy's fields. And I saw 5 or 6 of those pipes that had some of that coming out of it one time or another. Why is it hooked up to the dairy? Their irrigation lines. That was sewage coming out of there. That was not water. And I was there yesterday, and I'm pretty sure Sam was down there looking at it this morning.
Can you give me a...
When you're looking at that pumping station here by Basin, on the right-hand side, just over the fence that Butch Brasky showed on TV, that's raw sewage coming out of there. And there's 5 more of those down the line, and there was some coming out of those. So the last 2 was kind of just a dribble coming out of it.
You said that was near Basin?
Yes.
Okay. We'll look into it. I was not aware of
that. That's sewage. That's not water. Anybody with any knowledge about sewer plants, and which my wife is very knowledgeable on, and I've been around in Lockhart County, that was sewer. Okay. That was not water.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Louis DeCanio. I live at 1410 North Paddock Avenue. My house is located approximately a half a mile east of Blagg, and it connects Stagecoach and Peckstein. Okay, I'm right in the area of one of them things that sunk. Now, a lot of the vehicles that are coming through there, they're not being directed properly because when they come down either Stagecoach or Peckstein, it's like a horseshoe. They can't get out. and I see trucks and all kinds of vehicles that are not being directed properly, and they get lost in that area, and it's like they're making U-turns, they don't know where to go. They need more signs on that area where this, putting up a sign that says no outlets, no outlet, residents only would solve a lot of them problems, because a lot of these vehicles are trying to like get away from that area, and they're coming down Stagecoach going east, or they're coming down Peckstein going east, and it's just in a horseshoe, and they're lost. And I'm seeing trucks and vehicles and all sorts of stuff. In other words, just direct them properly away from that area with some signs and stuff. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
It's kind of funny, that's what I did the other day coming out of the Heath Lab track. I went there and ended up doing that U-turn as I spoke in a meeting.
And you drove right
I
past my house.
Oh, did it? Yes,
sir.
You said Spirit Construction did the construction for Utilities Inc.?
I think they were one of them. I'm not sure they were the sole construction company.
Okay, and that's possibly the construction company who compacted the soil. Do we know who the inspector is for the compaction report?
Not yet. That's part of the research that we're doing.
Who's going to ultimately pay the bill for this repair?
Well, a lot of that's going to be dependent upon what the results of the engineering study reveal to us.
Okay. I know that Butch Borowski's checking in to see if that's animal or human waste.
Yes, Mr. Osborne, I visited the site the other day with Contact Advanced Pain, and I believe those pipes are the irrigation system for the dairy, where they wash out the milking room floor or whatever they do over there.
The ones that Mr. Cox referred to?
Yes.
Yeah, but they do say Nye County.
Someone would contact the dairy and confirm that. They've been there for many, many years. It appears to be part of that pump station, but I believe I did not go to the dairy myself. I did not want to overstep my authority, and was hoping that Vance or somebody else would contact the dairy. Maybe Jared, you could do that.
They do say Nye County.
That those pipes are pumping out material that.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, okay. I did not want to do it myself as overstepping my bounds as a commissioner. I thought staff should do that.
Okay, Jared.
Okay. And that will answer Mr. Cox's question.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And there's a bypass, emergency bypass put in by Utilities Inc., I believe. You can't hear the pump stations actually working at this point. There was talk that they might have to evacuate the detention center if they're not working. How do we know that they're actually working?
Well, yesterday my director of public works was out there, and he has been engaged in this since it happened, and he's the one that told me that as far as he knows they were functional at this point in time. So
Rick, Mark Wade calling, asking a question here from the Front Valley Times. Okay, you mentioned there was an engineering firm that was studying it. Is that a firm that's contracted by the county or Utilities Inc.?
No, Utilities Inc.
Okay, do you know what that firm's name is?
I do not.
Okay.
All I know is I had a conversation with Wendy Barnett, and she assured me that they were working on it and that they were engaging an engineering firm. So.
Okay, when did this problem first occur then?
I believe last Wednesday, was it? Last Wednesday.
Okay, so that would have been the 20, you mean before Christmas or after?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'm told that apparently the lift stations are still working. They've just sunk, and they have some sort of a emergency sort of bypass already that's bringing the sewage down to a manhole.
Well, I know they were using some kind of a camera system to check the lines, make sure that the lines weren't broken anywhere. So I mean, they're doing their due diligence as far as I can tell.
Has this problem caused any sort of problem with the sewage service that any of the customers are having?
Not that's been reported to us.
Okay.
That would be December 22nd.
22nd. All right.
Okay. And so Utilities Inc. will be footing the bill for this, or either that or their contractor. The county won't be.
Well, the county is not a player on this except to maintain traffic for the citizens and make sure that emergency services has access I mean, that's our goal on it. We're trying to just facilitate things.
And do you have a plan if the lift stations do fail, what you're going to do, or what's the?
We're going to be talking with UICN about their alternative plan.
And I'll assume you might be getting this engineering recommendation. That's going to pretty much, or the Utilities Inc. will be, or?
Utilities Inc. is the one that's retaining the engineering firm.
Hey, Frank Marzio. Excuse me. I called the Jeff Urban's office at DEP yesterday afternoon, and asked them if they knew about it. They did. And they told me that the air scrubber had went down too. Has that been put up for odor control?
Not aware of that.
And they also advised me that the flow is flowing. It's not 100%, but it is flowing.
And you're saying the air scrubber is down? That's what you understand?
Yeah, which she didn't say where or where on Blagg, which is one of the air scrubbers.
That was as per INDEP?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can cut in, yeah, I was told by Wendy Barnett yesterday that apparently they have something, kind of a non-technical term, she used, odor scrubber, and that's fallen into the sinkhole, and that's causing some odor in that area, so I don't know if that's at least something that might help in the interim.
Thank you.
And so your responsibility too, I guess, might also be, I guess, trying to fill this sinkhole or wherever it sank.
Well, we have to maintain the roads, so when there's collapses like we have there, that is certainly our responsibility for oversight.
Wasn't Blagg Road just repaved a year ago?
I believe it was.
And that was partly because of the installation of the water and sewer lines?
I think you're correct.
Yes, I'm Sam Jones with Nye County Voice. I was wondering, due to these complications, if you have any knowledge of them shutting down that prison on the hill because of the sinkage of the sewer and that?
No, we have no information at this point, Sam, that there is any problem with the sewer lines.
Okay, because I was just out there this morning and shot footage of one of the lift stations that sunk at least 2 feet.
Yeah,
even the fence line has sunk and clear across the road. So I was in construction 35 years and I'm well aware of what happens when you have soil that's not compacted properly. And when the soil dissipates, that means any sewer pipes or water pipes or oil pipes, whatever's in that line, is going to sustain injuries. As far as if the soil's gone, that means the pipe has nothing under it to hold it in place. So that was our concern. Is, have you contacted CCA or anything?
Well, to answer your question, no, I haven't. That's really a problem between UICN and CCA. I mean, we're not the utility company. We're just trying to help them. But no, I haven't had any communication with them, but I probably will now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Harold Drumeau.
I'm sorry?
Harold Drumeau.
Hi, Harold.
I live just off of Mesquite down there. And I drove up and down around that construction all the while stuff was going on. I went to county offices a couple times and I asked them why they wasn't testing them mains they was putting in. Oh, we testing them. We got 5 inspectors that's out there all day, every day. Well, they got 5 inspectors, apparently don't know what's going on. Nothing was compacted. None of them lines was tested. I worked construction 40 years. I put in sewers and water and whatever. You can't tell me that that thing is not put in right. I mean, it's from the word go, everything was wrong. If all this engineering and everything was done to start with, you know what was going on. Now you got to go up, and how do they go down and flash up that pipe now with sewage in it to see if the lines are straight? I mean, who's kidding who? When the line's first put in, you can flash down that line to check your grade and everything else. Not when it's in use. And when lift stations that drop that far, pipes are going to go. And them things may be operable, but are they operating? I mean, this is a farce. It was a farce to put the stupid thing up there in the first place. We had some wonderful people in the lead that changed everything so it got put up there. If it was down where it should have been, we wouldn't have had half this problem. But now, how long is this going to be? You know, I got friends that live right.
Well, I gave my timeline crystal ball view earlier, and I said I don't know. It's gonna be more than a month.
It's going to be more than a year because they're going to have to do some lines. They're going to have to redo all them pump stations, whatever. It can't set the way it is.
Yep. And this is stating the obvious, Harold. We're aware of that.
And this county and town shouldn't have to pay any money on it. Maybe the commissioners, they're the ones who approved it. I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there someone here from Utilities Inc.?
No.
Why is that?
I don't know. I did let them know we were going to have a press conference today about that.
Okay.
So I can't speak for them.
Okay, I would like to direct my question to Public Works. I was wondering, what are the current standards for compaction in that area? And do you think that this is going to lead to higher standards in the long run because of the recent incident?
My name's Jared Ward with the Nye County Road Department, District Road Supervisor. I'm not directly related and work at Public Works, so to answer your question, I don't have enough knowledge to answer your question. We have a lot of people out today, this week, during the holidays, and I am down here to answer what I can, and it's the safety of the public is what I'm worried about most, so I don't have an answer for you on that.
Let me try and give you some feedback on that. One of the things we will look at is what the standard calls for. Was it properly executed? If it wasn't, why? But if the standard was executed and we have proof that it was, then of course the logical thing is for us to say, well, do we need to raise the bar a little bit? So that certainly will be a consideration at the proper time. Right now, we need to find out what the engineering assessment is, and that's why I said early on that that's what's important here is to try and find out what it is that failed, if anything.
Yeah, is Blagg Road the only road that's been having problems in the valley since the rains?
Well, I think there was a couple other sink areas besides Blagg. Do you remember which ones those were there?
Yeah, we have a couple sinkhole areas over at Homestead, Dandelion, Hacienda, over in that area that we've had problems with throughout the years. There's a couple spots over there. We got nothing closed or anything, no.
Are you anticipating any more problems with the coming rains?
Well, always when it rains a lot over in that area, we've got houses sinking and everything. Everybody's pretty much, aware of the problem over there. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mark, wait again. Do you know the name of the contractor who paved Blagg Road last year?
Wolfenstein. Yeah, it was Wolfenstein.
I believe Wolfenstein did some of the subcontracting out there, so.
Yeah, but we don't know. Off the top of our head, we're not sure. And I would rather refer to what we have in the files.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I wasn't the inspector on that job. I had other areas that I was working on, so I wasn't down there a lot. So I just don't have a lot of answers for your questions.
Okay. And did anybody from the county look to see whether any of that work that was performed on those, that was part of the water and sewer line extension to the detention center, I believe, that ran up Blagg. Did anybody from the county, you know, examine any of those documents to see whether they were
process of that.
inspected right?
That's what we're doing, is going through. There's volumes of paperwork there.
Okay.
But yes, that is going to be reviewed.
Was did anyone from NDEP, Nevada Division of Environmental Protection, have you spoken to anyone up there at the state level? Or?
I have not.
Okay. And you anticipate perhaps any sort of you might take any sort of action against Utilities Inc. on this whole matter? Or?
That would purely be speculative at this point, and my attorney just said don't be speculating. So.
All right. Great. Thank you.
This is Don Cox again. I forgot to bring up one other issue that I saw last night. When I was driving down Blagg, looking at those pumping stations and the damage, the water was coming up around the manholes, the majority of them from basins.
Seeping up around it.
Yes.
Right.
And that, the one you said they had another sink problem is around the manhole.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm aware of that one.
Out of all the manholes from basin, right before the sinkage there at the, right on the other side of Irene.
Yes.
And 90% of them have water, some type of water coming up around them. A couple of them had quite a lot.
Okay.
And there was people down there working to sandbag that one. So there's something other wrong. That water is not flowing like it's supposed to be, or it would be coming up around those manhole covers.
All right.
It's not bubbling, it's just seeping up. And if it had the proper compaction on that when they put those lines in, you wouldn't have this failure right now. So I think everybody involved, including the counties, responsible.
Donna Jokin, I live at 1240 Home Drive. Questions that I have for you is, if you find out that they haven't done it properly, are you going to see about if the state would take them over, or if we're going to take them over and do something with Utilities Inc. between them raising the rates and stuff ridiculously high, higher than I ever paid even in California? And the things that they're pulling, not doing things properly, because if this had been compacted properly, this never would have happened. And we all know that. We're not stupid. Are you going to do something about it? Do something about them?
Well, whether we are able to do anything about them, and what I'm reading into what you're saying, so I'm asking you, are you saying, are we going to acquire them, or are we going to...
That or the state.
Yeah.
Because we need to get rid of them.
Well,
they have done a lousy job. People are so unhappy with them.
I know their public image is not too good.
And then they get a raise for it.
Yeah, but that would be something that the attorney would be tugging on my arm here, saying don't say that right now. So I
just want to know that the commissioners are going to do something about this and not just sit back and let them.
Well, the commissioners are aware of what's going on. Believe me.
All right.
They know very well.
We haven't said right out that this is Utilities Inc. problem, but it seems that we're going that direction because it's happening around the sewer lines, it's happening around the pump station. There's a visibly broken pipe on the pump station number 10. You can see it above ground. But they're not here to represent themselves or to comment on it, and I'm assuming that that's the direction that we are going. Is Nye County taxpayers going to pay this bill? And I know that we're saying we can't talk about a lawsuit or anything, but ultimately, since they're not here, are they looking to repair it? I've talked to, personally, Wendy Barnett too as well, and she said she had an engineer out yesterday. She doesn't want to go on camera at this point, so.
We have no intention of the county footing the bill for this because we were not a player. We are exercising oversight as the town is, just to make sure that the citizens have access to their homes and that public safety can function, and not just fire, but our law enforcement. So, you know, we're trying to make sure that safety services are maintained. But what the public image of UICN is not my concern right now. It's not my concern ever.
Are we looking at their other work that they've done around town then? Because obviously they were using the same contractor. This could be an issue in a lot of other areas. I mean, there's brand new pump stations in many areas when this road was reconstructed. I know there's one on Wilson. Are we looking at that? Are they looking at that for the contractual stability of these areas?
Well, there were standards that have been in place for a long time, and someone asked earlier if we were going to review those, and of course we will. But we first, again, we have to make sure that we get the engineering report back so that we know what the engineers say the problem was, where the failure was. And then if everything can be proven that it was done to the standard and it still failed, then the only other logical thing for us to do is to say, well, maybe we need to raise the bar a little bit then, and we will do that.
Are we using their engineer, or do we have an independent engineer?
There's actually, as I recall, 3 levels of engineers with this. The UICN engineers for oversight, the company that installs has engineering, and then I believe Jared, we also had an engineering firm. As if I recall correctly yesterday, I believe that's what Mr. Fanning told me.
And those are all independent, we're going to be
absolutely independent.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Donna Cox, President of CCSC, Concerned Citizens for a Safe Community. You are a player in this. I keep hearing you say, well, you're not a player. You are the main player. You are the people that have the departments that can oversee the engineering and oversee the permits, oversee the inspections. Something got lost along the way here apparently, because all of a sudden nobody knows anything and they're all going to find out what happened.
We're not saying we don't know, we're just saying we're in the process of evaluating, and when I said we weren't a player, doesn't mean we weren't exercising oversight. We are certainly exercising oversight. What I said, we weren't a player, I said we weren't a player in terms of the installation that went down Blagg Road. We weren't a player in that. That's what I'm talking about.
But your departments were. They had to issue the permits, they had to do the inspections. They should have known, your inspectors, in order to do this, should have had enough education.
Well, as I just said, there were 3 levels of engineering involved in this project.
Okay, but I have to assume that your department, along with your road department and your planning department, and your building department must have done inspections on this. There must be a paper trail somewhere.
There is, and that's what I said we were going to be reviewing.
Okay. When I was on my way to a meeting the other evening at approximately 6 o'clock Monday evening, we stopped at the corner of Blagg and Basin to make a right-hand turn to go up to Highway 160. It smelled so bad of human sewer waste that it filled our truck up immediately because we had the heater on. There's something wrong on that corner. Now, Utilities Inc. has a big truck over there that has TV monitors on it, and they are able to go down into those lines and inspect that. And they should have that camera out and working to find out if there is a collapse there.
I did talk about that early on. Maybe you weren't in here then.
Well, they do have the ability.
Yeah,
I was telling you
they were doing that.
They do have the ability. By now, they should have found out one way or the other what's going on, especially at that corner. This appears to be backing up. It does not appear to be flowing. If it's flowing, and it's flowing very slowly, I would hate to see it flow backwards into the prison and cause a lot of odor up in that area, because if that smell backs up into the prison, you're going to have a riot. Those prisoners are going to be extremely upset. So I would hope that, yes, you do contact CCA and find out exactly what is going on up there. If this is backing up, they have to be having some signs of it or some problems. This needs to be done and done right. Now, you're saying that pumping stations are functional, but are they working, fully working? It appears at this point that yes, you are on top of it. I just want to see you stay on top of it. This should have never happened in the first place, and we all realize that because somebody was not on the top of it, and it is the county's responsibility in the long run and in the end to be on top of it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I have a question for Chief Lewis. Chief Lewis, how has this affected your services for that area? And worst case scenario, if the pumping station stopped working or it sinks, would that affect the fire hydrants?
It should not have a direct impact on the fire hydrant system. They're separate systems. Jared can probably provide a little bit further information, but in regard to your other question, we met with Jared out in the field last evening, and he's done a good job providing us daily updates and plans, as well as some written documents as you have in front of you. And at this point, with the consideration of the conditions that are currently present to us and known to us, there are no real issues for us getting to residential and commercial properties for either emergency medical events or fire events. You're welcome.
Okay.
I have a couple more things real quick, sorry. So basically that area, the flooding there in that area, what is that? Just plain, is that rainwater or is that just, what is that exactly?
The last word I got from our Director of Public Works was that the flooding that was down there was rainwater, and the action they took was to pump it over into the dairy to get it out of the roadway area.
Okay. And how many homes or people are actually affected then by this? Any idea?
Gosh, Bill, I don't have a clue. I don't know.
Well, I can't give you a direct count, Mark, but there's homes along most of the side streets there. There are some homes on Blagg itself, but as you know, the dairy takes up a big piece of the property there. There's some undeveloped property further north, closer to Mesquite. But at this time, it appears that there's no residential or commercial exposures that are not protected.
Okay. Okay, very good. And what is the extent then of the county's involvement right now? What is the county doing
oversight
at this point?
We're exercising oversight. We're trying to kind of lead the choir, so to speak, and make sure that it gets due diligence.
And you're also pumping some of that water out of there to relieve that flooding?
We did that already over into the dairy.
Okay. And no idea when that flooding might be cleared up so people can travel these roads?
I do not. As I said earlier, it's going to be more than a month, and that's about the clearest picture I can get in my crystal ball before this is resolved. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Bruce Colley. Yeah, regular construction, about 20 years, tracks, houses, and whatever. Those sections of pipe are put in 20-foot sections. They slide into each other. If it's undermined from this rain or whatever caused it, every one of those joints could be compromised. And if they are, and if it's leaking, it'll just continue to wash out and get worse. So that whole line, it at least needs to be cambered, and it needs to be inspected and made sure that underneath, you may have to replace this whole line, or someone may have to before it's said and done. Because if one of those joints is leaking, it's just going to continue and get worse. Okay, I was down behind the Blagg and Basin Station day before yesterday, and there was a steady stream running up from in the ground to the north front of that station, and it was running out into the field. And it definitely was not manure, you know, cow manure and what it smells like. This smells like city sewer, you know. So that line may be broken and it may be seeping to the top and running into that field. Now that pump station is, like Sam stated, it has sunk considerably, and it may be even more now. You know, any other ones I don't know, I didn't bother going to look at. But because I run Blagg Road all the time, I live up in the north end. So keep that in mind. I'm sure inspectors are aware of it, but this may be more involved than meets the eye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sam Jones again, Nye County Voice. As you're aware, and everybody in the valley is aware, that those lines go under two major highways, 160 and 372. Now, if you look at the picture with any kind of common sense, if they're doing this down Blagg, what's going to happen? Who's going to be responsible when 160 and 372 collapses and someone's killed? Is that what you're going to do? I mean, you know, who's going to take on this responsibility if you don't act immediately and shut something down and redo the whole system? Because if someone gets killed, as you well know, it's going to fall back on the county and the taxpayers of Nye County, because you're the people that wrote and issued the permits for all this thing to happen, from the thing starting on the hill all the way through to Willow Creek Golf Course. And you have lift stations all the way. And only common sense tells you that if it's failing in one area, who's to say it's not going to fail in the very worst area, which is 2 major highways?
It's a concern. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you all for coming. And if there's any new developments on this, we'll be sure to put this out again and let you know. But thank you for all your questions.